Yo.
What up, though?
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
All right, then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
Street Beat.
Yeah.
With Tony B.
For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community.
Street Beat.
Street Beat. Win.
Tony.
Seattle native performing at Jazz Alley tonight. Jumanne Smith. How you doing, my man?
Doing great.
Great to have you here. Well, I see you went to Roosevelt.
Yep.
Did you make the decision to go to Roosevelt because of the music program, or you just...
Well, I lived in the area, but
Okay.
also because of the music program. Yeah, when I was in middle school, I went to Eckstein, just up the street from there. And when I was in middle school, the Roosevelt Jazz Band came and did a performance, and I was like, "Wow, that's amazing!" And they said they were going to Europe at the end of the year, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds like an incredible opportunity. I want to do that. I want to be a part of that." And then when I got into the program, it was incredible. The mentorship from Scott Brown and also from the other students. Mm-hmm. Was exactly what I needed. I'd gone through a lot of stuff when I was a kid, and a lot of hardship and trials and tribulations, and that experience really lifted me up, and it opened up my world. It opened up a world of possibilities, and it opened up my eyes to the potential that I had for success in music.
Wow. Obviously, I want to talk about the success that you had and what you're doing now. But I'm going to stick on the Roosevelt thing for a second. Did you get to go do the Duke Ellington deal when you were at Roosevelt? Did you
Actually, I was a part of one of the first, maybe the very first time that Roosevelt entered the Ellington competition.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Way back when. I don't even want to say how long it was.
Well, it couldn't have been that far ago. As a matter of fact, one of the you're here. Is it a trumpeter or trumpet?
I am a trumpeter and a singer.
A trumpeter and
vocalist,
a singer, and you were the lead trumpeter and with Michael Bublé, correct?
Yeah, I've been working with Michael for the better part of the last 20 years now.
See, you say that, and I'm looking at you, and I'm like, "What did you start when you were 5?"
Yeah, you're too kind.
Have you always known? Because one of the things that I saw when you went to Roosevelt, I said, "Oh, well, that's a pretty distinguished program." Have you always known that you had a musical gift and musical talent? Is that something that from an early age you were like, "Okay, I don't know what this is, but I enjoy it, I like it, I want to do it"?
Well, from an early age, I was definitely interested in music. I was definitely interested in jazz, and that experience of being a part of the Roosevelt High School Jazz Band really helped to open up my world. And we got to go all over the world, and we also got to go to these jazz festivals where legendary artists were playing, and having that experience at that time and getting to meet those people who I held in high regard was really incredible and really important and informative to me and my decisions to pursue a career in music.
You have had the opportunity to perform with, to be engaged with some big names in this industry. And for you, let's do this first. The album is called Jumanne Smith, Come On Home. And 11 tracks on here. Again, I was talking about the fact that you had the opportunity to work with, to perform with so many elite musicians. How did you find yourself in a position, because you're from Seattle, where you were given this opportunity? Tell us about how this all came to be.
So after I finished at Roosevelt, I moved to New York at 18 to study in university. I first went to the New School
Which
University.
was a full scholarship.
Yeah.
at Juilliard.
I was fortunate. I went to the New School University for a year. I wanted to go there because a lot of people from Art Blakey's band and Coltrane's band taught there. So I went there to be mentored by them. And then after a year, Wynton Marsalis started a jazz program at Juilliard. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of the inaugural class of jazz studies at Juilliard. Yeah. And I proceeded to attend there for 4 additional years. And then at the end of my tutelage there, I started to get some opportunities, and my network grew, and people started to call me for a variety of different performance opportunities. And one of the ones I got was a call to do the AOL sessions from a buddy of mine who I had played at Juilliard with. Actually, we went to college together at Juilliard, and he had gotten the gig already. And then he called me up to see if I could make this one gig at the AOL sessions, and it was like a recording session and a video session. And that was my first gig with Bublé, you know, and we've been working together 20 years now.
Wow.
So, you know, they say you're only as good as your last gig. So I always try to do my best every night, night after night. And I really believe that that's true, because at any given moment, it can be taken away, you know, the opportunity. And I try to, you know who actually told me that? You're only as good as your last gig, and each gig is an audition for the next, is the great Greg Fillinganes. He's the one that told me that when we were doing a date with Quincy Jones. And, you know, that really just stuck with me, especially given his illustrious career. Yeah.
You did, Greg Fillinganes, you just phenomenal. Musician. So now this is you tonight at the Jazz Alley. You've played with all these folks. When you have all this experience and playing with Michael Bublé, when you do Jumanne, what is it that you say, okay, how do I take myself? How do I take everything that I've learned and put it into being who I am? And what is that like?
Oh, it's amazing, because I've had the opportunity to study with all of these amazing artists. And being on stage with them, I'm learning from them, you know, and it's been incredible getting to work with Quincy Jones, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, you know, you name it. It's been an amazing experience. Michael Bublé, I've learned so much. Harry Connick, they've all taught me so many things. Like, for example, when I was working with Stevie, we would rehearse the songs for a short period of time, and then he'd want to just jam on some jazz tunes. And that was incredible to see his work ethic and how he went about his preparation. And not only that, but also to watch as he sat there and would play different riffs at the keyboard and sing along to them, and figure out his different improvisational tools that he was going to utilize. So it was a really incredible experience. Or even just getting to hang with Quincy Jones, who can out-hang everybody. Even at his age, you know, I had to go to bed before he went to bed. It was incredible. So, you know, all of those experiences. One time I got the opportunity to perform in Quincy Jones' big band at the Hollywood Bowl. And there were a bunch of guest artists, including Frank Sinatra Jr. So at one point, Quincy's conducting, Frank Sinatra Jr. singing, and we're playing a corner pocket with this little trumpet solo in there. And I'm playing the trumpet solo on fourth trumpet. And it was incredible. It was like the closest thing that I, in my lifetime, could ever get to like actually being a part of Quincy's collaboration with Frank Sinatra. Wow. You know, but going back to your questions about my own musicality, I take all of these things and my own life experience, the good and the bad, the ups and the downs, and I put it all in there. And it's a melting pot of who I am. as an artist. And when you come to see me perform, hopefully you will feel inspired by it. Hopefully you will be taken away in the moment. And hopefully you will recognize that I'm not only doing it for you, the people, I am doing it for you, but I'm also doing it for me, because music and being on stage and being on stage performing is my happy place. Yeah. And it takes me to another plane. And so I need it just as much as anybody else. And so getting to share that with people is really important. And I'm so grateful to be able to do so.
Tonight at Jazz Alley, Jumanne Smith will be performing live from Seattle, went to Roosevelt. We talked about some of the people who you played with, performed with. Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones performed on this exact stage right here at one point in time, and Jimi Hendrix has performed on this stage. Ray Charles has performed on this stage. Are you familiar with the history of Jackson Street in Seattle and the prominence place that jazz had in Seattle? I'm sure you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you? And for you, how important is that to you to be aware of that knowledge and that history? Because a lot of people actually didn't know that Seattle was a mecca for jazz from the early 20s all the way up to the mid 50s.
Well, the music has influenced me tremendously. Yeah. And those artists that you just listed have influenced me tremendously. Mm-hmm. And the scene in Seattle at that time was so diversified. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of the early days of people mixing genres in a way. And it all kind of happened here, you know? And so being able to sort of carry on that tradition of being a musician from Seattle, mixing genres in a way, and still staying true to the roots of the music is an incredible opportunity. Yeah. A humbling opportunity, given the legacy and the tradition of those legendary artists. Yeah.
Well, now I get to add your name as one of the people who've been on this stage. You haven't performed here, but you did an interview here at the historic Columbia City Theater, and man, I'm so proud of you and the work that you've done. I'm looking forward to coming to see you tonight.
Thank you so much.
When I was reading, I said, "Oh, we got to get this guy here so we can talk to him and share more information on who you are." And what should folks expect from tonight? Is it going to be?
Well, tonight is a special celebration because I just released this album, Come On Home, on August 16th. So it's brand new. It's just come out. There's 9 original songs on the album, and we're going to be playing a lot of that music. And it's going to be uplifting. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have a joyful evening. And I do hope that everyone who's listening right now will come out and join us. Mm-hmm.
And for you, same deal, Demetrius Jazz Alley. You know, people say one of the arguably top 2 jazz clubs, definitely on the West Coast, maybe in the country. For you to come back to Seattle and be performing here, your own show, does that have special significance?
Oh, it's so special because when I was growing up, that was the place I would go. Yeah. One of my fondest memories as a kid was getting to see Tito Puente at Jazz Alley, but I couldn't afford to get in. But they had the window open so you could see the artists on stage, and so I was standing outside, and Tito, he saw me out there and he waved to me and he smiled. He pointed at me, he waved and smiled, and that experience really stuck with me. I couldn't have been more than like 8 or 9 years old at that time. Wow. But I was like just mind blown completely by that, you know? And going from that to being in high school and going to concerts there and getting to meet several of my heroes and watching performances. I went there almost every week. I was probably one of the best patrons for a while.
Wow. Let's talk about the album. Again, Come On Home, and your experience making this album. When you went into making this album? Did you have something predetermined that you wanted to do, that you were looking for? Did you just kind of go with the flow?
For this album, I wanted to make an original statement based on my life experience. And so it's really the culmination of everything, the ups and downs, all the experiences, the love, the loss, you know, everything that's transpired is a part of making that album. We recorded it over the course of 2 days at this beautiful studio.
2 days?
In Woodstock, New York. Yeah, 2 days. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It was a quick recording, but a lot of preparation went into it beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this beautiful studio in an old church in Woodstock, New York called Dreamland.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got some great musicians on there. Ian Hendrickson Smith, who plays in the Roots.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing saxophone. And Carmen Intori plays drums. He spent a long time playing with the Pat Martino group. Also, Will Gorman is on there. Will's an incredible young organist. And Dave Rosenthal, who's just a journeyman, incredible guitarist who's played with everybody. And that's the core group. We've been playing together for several years now. And so by the time we went into the studio to have the record made, we had already worked out all the material and knew what we wanted to get done. And so we just went in and we banged it out, and I'm so happy with the way that it's turned out.
Yeah.
And, you know, they say when you go into the studio, the objective should be to try to capture that lightning in a bottle and the energy and the excitement of the live performance and the excitement of the music. And I feel like what we were able to capture on this recording is very much alive, and it very much documents my experience. And so I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to make this record, and I absolutely believe that it's my best work yet.
Wow. I want to talk a little bit more about this record again. This is Street Beat. Me, your host, Tony B. My very special guest here, Seattleite Jumanne Smith, graduate of Roosevelt High School, played with the illustrious Roosevelt. Is it the jazz orchestra? What do you call that? Roosevelt
Jazz Band.
Roosevelt Jazz Band, playing tonight at Demetrius Jazz Alley. Now, you mentioned that you recorded this in 2 days. I've talked to different folks who've done albums, and this one sounds a little different. Sometimes I'm talking to folks and they'll say, "Hey, I laid down some tracks, and then somebody from LA laid down some tracks, and then somebody from New York laid down some track, and they transferred the material." It sounds like you were all together.
We were all together.
You were all together.
Yeah.
When recording.
Yeah. Well, during the pandemic, I spent a lot of time doing it, just as you had just said.
Mm-hmm.
Recording a variety of different artists from all over the world, piecing things together. And afterwards, after the pandemic, I couldn't wait to get back into the studio with people together, because there's something special when you get people in a room recording together. There's an energy that you don't quite capture the same when people are recording one at a time separately.
We're almost out of time here. I just that feeling again. Now, when y'all recorded, did you record as a group live? Did you record? I'm just curious how that worked with you, because you did this in 2 days. It's like, okay, everybody.
We primarily recorded live together.
Wow.
And then there were some overdubs that we did to add layers and textures to it after the fact. But yeah, we had a lot of stuff already worked out, and all the material was already put together. I knew what I wanted. I was producing the project, and so it was easy to do it in that amount of time with the organization and the planning that had gone into it leading up to that point.
Again, Jumanne Smith from Seattle, graduate of Roosevelt High School, went to Juilliard, played with a who's who list of musicians, doing his own thing. The album is called come on home. He'll be at Demetrius Jazz Alley tonight. Jumanne, I want to give you an opportunity to say something to those who are listening now, and just whatever you want, your opportunity for final words, whether that, whatever it is that you would like to say to the audience.
I'm so grateful to finally be performing at home again, to be back home. And I hope to see a lot of old friends, a lot of people I haven't seen in many years. And I hope to see new friends and make new friends and have a great time tonight. It's going to be a party. We're going to have an awesome time. Please do come out and join us.
All right. Again, Jazz Alley tonight. Jumanne, I'm coming.
Wonderful.
I'm looking forward to seeing you, hearing the material as well. Again, at Jazz Alley tonight. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and
such a pleasure to meet you.
And just again, man, great to have you on this stage.
Great to be
along
here.
with the other folks who've been here before. It's me, Tony B, your host of Street Beat. Come on down to Jazz Alley tonight, and let's check out the show. That's it. That's all the time that I have. That is going to do it for the kid. It's me, your host, Tony B, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, you're probably right. I'm out. Peace.